So Crash Team Rumbles beta test has ended roughly around 3 weeks ago, and finally, I want to talk about it. Now, to sum all of my experiences together, the game is actually pretty fun overall. However, there are a few slight problems that I am worried about once the game actually releases, and I'll explain it later in the video on what I'm referring to, but let's start off with the gameplay first. As mentioned, the gameplay itself is fantastic, fun, chaotic, and a great jump in for a few minutes and jump out style of game. There are moments where you are really trying hard to win, but overall it's the perfect game to just sit down and relax, hop in and have fun for a round or two. The characters are very different. I play Coco the most as she is the most agile one, which makes traversing around the map really fun. The other characters during the beta are also pretty great, as they each have their own respective sub-roles, and they all perform solidly. All in all, no complaints about the direction of the characters in this game. Now, moving on with the graphic, nothing much to say here aside from if you love how Crash Bandicoot 4 look and feel, you'll feel right at home in this game. Animation wise are roughly the same as Crash Bandicoot 4 as well. Now, there are certain moments where the screen is just filled with non-stop chaos, so it can get really messy at times. But to me, I feel that this is the charm of the game itself, so it doesn't really bother me that much. It can get pretty daunting for newer players however, but after a while, you get used to whatever is happening on the screen. Now, sound-wise, I love the music in this game. Yes, most of it felt like it was recycled from Crash 4, but I love Crash Bandicoot 4's music, so it doesn't bother me that much. I like the feature where you can select a specific song to play whenever you get an MVP of the match or when you kill someone. This is a great way to spark some identity between each players. They have songs from previous Crash games as well, like the Insane Trilogy, but I don't know how far back are they gonna bring the music from, so no comment on that. Now, game balance wise, I don't want to talk about it too much yet because it is a beta and things can very well change, but I just want to point out on stuff like the Dingo Dial Freeze combo, which is a pain to deal with if you played during the beta, and Cortex's combo damage, which seems to be absurdly high for a booster class. But other than that, I'll not go too deep into it yet until the full game releases. Overall, I'm actually having a positive time with the game itself more than the negative. However, I did mention that there are a few slight problems that I am worried about, and here it is. Firstly, the bots in this game. There were times where I can't find a full match and I'm mostly just playing against bot. Needless to say, it gets boring very quickly because of how much of a pushover the bots actually are. Hopefully this is just a beta issue and more full matches will occur during the full release. I'm just worried because it's pretty hard to even find a full lobby during the beta, as it is sometimes taking around 15 minutes just to find someone joining in. Secondly, the lag. I'm not sure why, but the game lagged at times. There were moments of rubber banding happening left and right where I got teleported to where I was around 2 seconds ago. Unfortunately, I do not have the footage of it, but I'm pretty sure that my internet is not the cause of it, as I've seen other creators experience it as well. But luckily, it wasn't happening every matches, and because of this, I'm not too worried about it. However, thirdly, this one is probably my most concerning feedback for the beta, and to be honest, I'm not sure if they can do much about it, which is the game's lifespan. Now let me explain. I've mentioned that the gameplay is solid and it is really fun. This is a fact. However, it might be just for a little while. This is a type of game where it can get boring very quickly, and this is not good considering that number 1, it is a paid game which limits the number of players playing the game, and number 2, this is a full-blown multiplayer game, which means that it needs the player base to stay alive. Once people get bored and start leaving, queue time will get much longer, which affects other players' experiences and they'll start leaving, and yeah, as you can see, it's a domino effect, and a ton of paid multiplayer only game died really quickly this way. Of course, one person can't play the same game forever, but considering that the player base of this game is already pretty low compared to it if it is free to play, this is a really concerning issue. I don't want this game to die off just after a month, so I hope that this game gets a strong player base at launch, like how Crash Team Racing was, with the dev pumping out content here and there, just to keep the players playing again and again. But overall, that's just my opinion about the beta, the positive and the negative. Do you have the same experiences on Crash Team Rumble's beta? Let me know down in the comment section below.